And I suppose if it goes online, you'd have access to it too, so you can go back and you could relive the glory days of.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Mr. Thompson.
It's just me, is all they see, so.
Okay,
Video
good.
study.
So if I'm looking crusty, that's the Excel we'll see.
The things, crazy things like that. I would rewatch that.
Who won't say she would judge you?
Yeah. When does Excel not judge people? That's the real question. Love you,
Excel.
Excel.
Excel likes me.
No, she doesn't.
Whoa,
You want to
whoa.
think that she doesn't.
I think me and her are very good friends.
I think everybody might agree with that.
All right, we'll go through this quickly.
I think my folder for this
Textbook. This is the textbook, but kind of like last year, I'm not gonna, we will use it, but it will be a reference. I'm back. Oh, almost did.
See, they got a shirt.
You're not supposed to be laughing at me.
You got a shirt?
Well, that worked well. And the best part is, it is on tape, so.
Yeah, I'll go watch that back.
All right.
I'll laugh it up.
This is the one, and they do have this is second edition, they have more editions that would be more user-friendly. The information is good. It's just, it's very content-rich, but it's not very, you look at it, it's kind of like just looking at an encyclopedia, which you guys don't know anything about because you guys don't have encyclopedias at home because you look up everything on it. But if you go to Grandma and Grandpa's, they might have a set of encyclopedias everywhere. My age, we grew up with looking things up in encyclopedias, and this is kind of what that is, just lots and lots of it. This is actually a part that you will use, the worms, when we get to that. And so I'll pass them out. Hopefully you guys are still here. That was the part last year that they were home for. But I'm not going to make you carry them and keep them in your locker, and the chance of a water bottle spilling and that, even when we're not using it, but just still it's in danger there, or even worse, whatever it is, kombucha or something spilling all over it, and getting it all full of fermented wonderfulness. Yeah, I can't do it. But so we'll use it when that, but otherwise we won't. Now this one is biology for Christian schools. Now you've seen pictures of this, if you remember from last year, the beginning of the year, sort of the beginning of the year, icons of evolution. The teacher that was, he taught at school, and they had him leave because he was questioning, he dared to question whether Darwinian evolution had the power to actually make all the new species. And they showed him in his classroom. Well, obviously they were not taping him before he got moved because there was no story at that point. He was just teaching. You don't tape all the teachers just in case something exciting happens and then we have it. He was teaching at a new school, and they said district, but it was actually a Christian school, and I know it's a Christian school because this is the textbook that they had pictures of all the time, because I could recognize the picture, recognize the stripes in the side. And it is biology for Christian schools. So it has a Christian background, which I'm fine with that. I'm going to teach it from a Christian background as well. But we are going to use mostly a textbook that is not. It's a secular textbook, and you're not going to have to carry one of those around either. But the material I'm going to give you from is much more user-friendly, but I'd like you to see that what they call chance, and that they actually talk about in terms of design. The whole purpose of this class is for you to not only learn about life, that's what biology is, the study of life. And we'll talk about that. How do we know that's not alive? What's the difference between living things and that? Because then all of a sudden you looked up there like you thought maybe something was flying around up there. Almost.
You can do it!
Holding on by a string.
Oh, there it goes. All right.
They didn't believe in themselves.
Yeah, it was from 1992, so it hung on for a long time.
That's when you put it up?
No, that's what the poster was from.
Oh. He believed in himself.
was, yeah. The school wasn't here in 1992.
I believe, that's what I was really confused about.
I wasn't teaching at OCA in 1992 or anything, but the way, no, I don't think that, maybe that actually caught the falling of the poster.
Maybe.
Online. Maybe. But we're going to look at it from whether life is by chance or whether it's designed. What does science actually say is more likely that it's by chance or by design? And that's more of what we covered if you were in my Bible class apologetics is why do you think that it's creation or intelligent design rather than evolution? Hopefully it's more than because that's what Mom and Dad told me, that's what I learned at church, that's what Mr. Schmidt said. Because if it's just what I said, then you're going to hear somebody else tell you something else and that have PhD after their name, and you're going to think, wow, that sounds pretty good. And statistics shows that half of the students, even those at OCA, church students, 5-10 years from now, will not be active in a church, will not be following the Lord. And so that's part of the reason for going that. And you think, oh, we're not at OCA. Unfortunately, Mr. Niles and Mr. Thompson and I can walk down the hallway and look at the pictures. In some classes, you're right, not half of them, and more than half still are. And others, a lot less than half. Half is probably a pretty good number, even for those graduating from Omaha Christian Academy. So, you hate to, but obviously not here. Otherwise, we look around and half of you are going to walk away from what you believe. So, we want to take it away. I don't want you to walk away from what you think I believe, or what you think Mom believes, or Dad believes, or what the church believes. I want you, if you're going to make that choice, walk away from what it is, and you know what the facts are, and you make that choice. I don't want you to walk away, but I want you to walk away knowing what the actual facts are. So in this class, we will look at life, and we will look through the filter of, does this point towards design, or does this point towards chance and nature? And sometimes, you know, it looks like, well, chance kind of has it, but is it more towards design, and what is the actual science say? What's the good science? So that will be the focus. We're still going to cover the same thing. We're going to cover life, the characteristics of life, how to do a good study, cells, genetics, and then we'll do a survey of animalia. We're not going to do a lot with like human body systems and stuff, because Mr. Pittum covers that in anatomy, and I don't want to double up stuff. There's all kinds of stuff that is out there in biology. For most of this, it's the same. There's nobody that wasn't here last year, so it will work fairly similar to what you're used to in science class here. I don't know exactly how we're going to do group stuff. I'm not sure. Just a lot of things we're working on, and with mass we should be fine. But I don't want people to work together and just sit there and laugh at Evan as his glasses steam up. And because I've been there, I'm there with him on that. My kids laugh at me. They do. It's kind of turning like a jungle in here, isn't it, Dad? Yeah, a little bit. And sometimes you have the mask and it doesn't do anything. And other times, I don't care how I pinch, move, it doesn't matter. They just steam up. Quizzes and tests. I am planning, for you, I know how I usually do them. We're planning on regular type. I don't know how to do that and make it so it's equitable to you guys compared to those who are at home. Obviously, there is no proctoring going on there. We've asked, but we haven't got any answers on that yet. But I will keep asking, Keely. I will pretend that I'm a millennial. I will keep asking.
I'm not even a millennial.
I know, but that's the next. I can't jump down to whatever you guys are. You guys Z?
Gen Z.
Z, yeah. And there's an X in there too first, right? Older than you?
Yeah.
I think it's millennial, Gen X, Gen Z, and who knows what. We're out of letters now. Why did they start with that? Why didn't they start up higher in the app?
Yeah.
Gen X, then.
Yeah, my mom's
Oh.
I'm pretty sure
My mom's a Gen X.
Yeah.
Okay,
She's
all
not
right.
that young.
But why did we start with X?
I don't know.
I mean, we're almost out of letters.
X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
We started, yeah, but wouldn't
Oh,
it start
S, T,
more,
W.
make more sense to start with A and just?
No, Eric.
Well, you know what? The generation
Why
you
not?
were like, no, let's make it moving down.
All right.
Pretend I'm you because that's how it is.
Okay, wait, wow, you sound like you want to be a boomer. Just because. Because I said so. All parents turn into boomers, because you've all heard that. Why, Mom?
Because.
I said so, yeah. Quizzes are supposed to be for new topics. I will use that. They will be smaller. They won't be worth as much. Now, my class is going to be the same. It's just the total number of points out of, and I have to look up specifically how. We already did that. Okay. 30. Oh, that's Wednesday. All right, I'm saying we're really in trouble here. Okay, I got time. I lost where I was going with that, but you've done more today than you normally did during summer by this time.
I don't even know.
Maybe just a little bit.
That didn't help any. I'm still not thinking. Oh yeah, it's just the total number of points you have out of the total points possible. I don't do the, well, your quizzes are worth 20%, your test's worth 50%, your homework's worth. I have a hard time explaining that to students or parents when they don't. And if you wonder if that you're in a class that they do that, whatever's the highest points, usually it's the test, like 50%. You gotta really study for your test, because if you do really well on your quizzes and you do well on your homework, and then you take a test and you mess up a little bit on the test, your grade comes way down. And then the next time you think, oh, but we have a quiz next week, and you get 100 on the quiz, your quiz score is already 100, so your grade doesn't change at all. And you turn in 3 homework assignments, and they all are perfect, but you already have a really high grade on that, so your grade doesn't change at all. Your grade won't change until you take another test, which might be a couple weeks. And if mom and dad have taken away some privilege or some electronic device or whatever, there is really no way for you to get that grade back up until another test comes around. So I stopped it. The way mine does, it might not come up a whole lot, but every time you turn something in, the grade can go up and you can show progress to whoever has confiscated said privilege. And you have a chance of that, because I want to at least put that carrot out there. You know what, if Blake actually works at this, then it'll be in his best interest. If it's not going to help for the next 2.5 weeks, then why even try that hard? It's just, my grade's not going to go up until I can take another test. I don't want to do that. So I don't have that, well, how much are your tests worth? Tests are worth, if I want them to make them more, and they usually are, they're just worth more points. They'll be out of 50 or out of 100. It'll just be your percent rather than out of 10 or out of 15. But every time you turn something in, your grade will change. You got used to your grade changing out there, and I could do it. We have a new computer system, and you should have the same number that they said. I don't know exactly how to do it. We haven't had time to actually go through and try all this stuff out. We're still learning how to use the Canvas stuff. And this is where I would like to be at least a Gen Xer then and say, why are we changing when we just started to figure out this? But I don't have that shot. Okay, so I guess I got to wait and see. It's disappointing. Yeah, I know. It was a long summer, wasn't it?
It was Sycamore was very disappointing when it came to online school.
You know, I don't, it's Jeff. It could do a lot. Part of it was we just didn't know how to use it, is what we got better at it, but.
Yeah, at the end. I
But
did
we're-
not like the Dropbox.
It was horrible for signing up for classes too.
Okay, yeah,
There
that
was so
not it.
many options. There was like
And
every
then
variable
using
for
it as
every
only-
possible situation.
Choice is horrible, isn't it? You hate to go to
Yes.
somewhere
No,
where there's
choice is
15
good. It was just
different ice
confusing.
cream. You'd rather just have
No, I
chocolate,
already-
vanilla, or twist.
Strawberry.
Twist.
Come on, baby. Um, but that's how you rate. The test, if you don't do well, you can retake them, and it's not because, oh, I feel bad for you. It's because my goal is that you do well on this test, and if you didn't do well on the first time, because I didn't really study, it was one of those oh no moments where everybody is in here quizzing each other, and they're thanking Kaylee for the Quizlet, and then you realize, what are you guys, oh, there's a test. And we've all lived through that at least once. Some not as often as others.
Except for Kaylee.
But, yeah, and it's good. We all need a class mom that takes care of us. I wasn't that. I did fairly well just because I was very competitive and I wanted to keep my grades up. But you can retake it. I just want you to learn, whether it's the first test, second test, I don't care. I just want you to learn it. It will be average, so it's better to do well the first time. But if you show improvement, usually mom and dad are at least somewhat appeased. Labs, we will see, again, just with the whole distancing thing, I'm still going to try and make it as much like it was before as possible. Extra credit will be like last year. If it comes up as part of, there's an opportunity, take advantage of it. You don't know if you're going to need it at the end. But if you come to me 2 days before, you know what, I've got a C and somehow I have to get it to a B, there's probably not a whole lot I can do, or even will try to do. And if I say that now, it's no big deal because you don't have a C right now that you're trying to get up. So just remember that, and don't make me say it again when there's only 2 days left the quarter, and then it does make me sound mean. I'll still say the same thing, but I just don't like to sound mean. And get stuff in. It should be easier while you're here. Some of you struggled with getting stuff in when it was online. The stuff that's listed there, the order, will probably change a little bit. I did kind of do that. The way I had it planned is going to move a little bit. We're going to start, I don't have it broken down that much. What I thought we're going to do a little bit with just the characteristics of life, and then we're going to jump to microscope stuff because Mrs. Henkenius is starting with some of that stuff, and when I order things for the microscope, I don't want to order some for when we do it and some for when she does it and pay for the same thing twice. We'll just share it. We'll use it, and then I'll just send it down to her, and hopefully it's still alive. I'm actually giving it to her because she's going to be much better at taking care of it and keeping it alive. And you have to keep aerating it using your pipettes. She'll do a much better job. So I will let her take care of the little things that we will look through in the microscope. But we will switch things around a little bit to get that done so that we don't have to pay for the same things twice. And the question that comes, are we going to dissect things? Last year we didn't. We would, and I was ready to order stuff just when the state shut the schools down. So those would be at the end when we get to the survey of Kingdom Animalia, and we go through and we do dissections from simple organizations to more complex, but not in an evolutionary term as to watch how it develops as we go. It's just easier. It's easier for you to learn your skills on something, cutting open something that has very little in it. If we start with the pig, then
Wait, how big is it? The pig.
big pig.
A big pig.
Now they They are, normally you order fetal pigs, which means that they were never born. They're about like this, but they're actually cheaper to buy the ones that are actually born, and they're the stillborn ones or whatever, so they actually go to full term, so they're
Wait,
big
do they
pigs.
just like cut it out of the mom pig?
No, they're
No,
actually,
the fetal ones, the fetal ones.
well, yeah, it's when they're getting the bacon and stuff out, and if there's pigs in there, then the babies just go
Wait, there's
into
like,
the-
oh surprise, she was pregnant and they're,
I don't know there's
what?
surprise, but yeah, then they can actually sell those to something. It's just
They do it.
it's actually even termed harvesting. They will, but they're
I don't even like pigs, but that's just gross. It's sad.
all right. Well, that seemed a bit harsh not to even like them,
They're stinky.
but they're tasty.
That's true. Yeah.
So until we're ready to give up bacon, we can't be too upset with them. And I'm not ready. to give
Yeah,
up
I
bacon.
can deal with them after they're dead.
Yeah, they'll be
All
dead
right,
when we
so
get-
anyway, they are pretty, but I don't want you to learn how to dissect doing something like that, and then work your way down to a worm, where, and earthworms actually have quite a bit of stuff in them, but we will go down to roundworms too. Well, yeah, but that's just inside a very small term. They're not just a tube just full of dirt. You'll be amazed at what. And yeah, it's not so much that if you break them into 10 pieces that you now have 10 worms. Yeah.
Wait, is that true or false?
That's
Sorry.
false.
Is it?
If you
Why?
if you break them, if you cut them, part of it will, depending on if you have enough of it, will regenerate. But generally, you have to have the head. If you just cut the tail, will not regenerate the head.
Wait, which has the head and which has the tail?
How do you know?
You have to wait till spring, and then you'll find out. And hopefully, if you're still here, we will do a lab. You'll get to know your earthworm, and you'll get to do some studies on some
We'll get to know it and
living
then we get to cut it.
living earthworms,
Awesome.
but you won't cut those up.
Okay.
You don't kind of develop a relationship with this worm and then have to. No. You develop
Now we
a
know how surgeons
relationship
feel.
with it, put it back in its little hidey hole, and then I'll take it and give it swimming lessons later. But
Wait, what?
Go back.
did your mom make you go take swimming lessons?
I did.
Yeah. See, that I will give them swimming lessons. And then you will actually dissect worms that have been preserved and they are that big.
Take Barbara on your boat.